Just make sure it stays in. I mean, you got the right idea, but I would.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Okay, so we're going to be going over the 3 problems. See how we did. See, that one's here, so we're just missing Stacy. So let's go ahead and do this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do these 3. Then I've got one more to do as a graph. You're going to graph. Then we're going to switch, and we're going to start trying to write functions for the graph given to us. Okay, so that's going to be our next goal. So let's look at this first one here. So can somebody tell me, just to start off, where my midline is going to be at? Yeah. 0. Yeah, because there is no vertical shift on this guy. Okay, great. So can somebody tell me my maximums and minimums? What's my maximum value going to be on this? 1. Yep, and my minimum is going to be? -1. And the reason we know that is that the amplitude is 1. So it's midline plus amplitude, midline minus the amplitude. Okay? So I have that information. Got this. Great. Okay, so let's get the period of this function. The period of this function is what? Pi. Pi radians. Okay? Where does this graph start at? Where's the cycle going to start at? Where at? Half pi or pi over 2, whichever you want to say. Okay, boom. If it starts at pi over 2 and has a period of pi, where is this graph going to end at? 3 pi over 2. All right, so I want to label my axis real quick, where those values are. Okay, so it's going to start at pi over 2, and I explained this graph. So this is pi over 2 here. This would be pi. This is 3 pi over 2. Okay, and then I have to just do what? Cut them in half. So I'm going to have pi here. This is going to be 3 pi over 4. This is going to be at 5 pi over 4. Are those my correct locations for my graph? Those critical values I need? Okay. Last thing I have to do is make a scale on my y-axis. I'm going to let, it doesn't matter, I'm just going to let every 4 squares be 1. That's what I'm going to do. 1, 2, 3, so I'm going to make that 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that's -1. Okay? So now I should be able to graph this. So it's a cosine. Cosine starts on a maximum, right? So here it's going to start right here. Then it's going to go through the midline. Then it's going to go to a minimum. Then it's going to go back to the midline and then up to a maximum. So there it is. Okay? That's one cycle. If I wanted another cycle, all I have to do is shift every one of those points pi radians either to the left or pi radians to the right. That's how you get another cycle. Just shift everything, whatever the period is. Okay? Any questions on this one? Here we go. This one, a lot more going on in this one. Okay, so let's start with the midline on this. Where's the midline going to be at? -1. So I'm going to write down my midline, I know, is y equals -1. What is my maximum? What is my min going to be then? What's my max? 1, and my minimum is? Okay, so let's get our y scale set up right now on this. Okay, so I could do, if I want, I could do 2 squares is 1. So let's just do that. So I'm going to make this +1. So this would be -1, -2. This would be -3. Okay, so I've gone from my max to my minimum, and I'm going to graph my axis of symmetry right now at -1. Okay, so now I need to find the period and where are my theta values that I'm going to be plotting these critical values at, these points at. So the period of this thing is what? It's pi. I don't know why I put a parenthesis there. Yeah, it's pi. The period is pi. It starts at what? -pi/6. So where is it going to end? It's going to end at -pi/6 plus pi/6, which is 5pi/6. Now I have to know where those are on this. Okay, now I have to know where they are. So -pi/6 is going to be this very first little tick right here to the left. So this is -pi/6. Where's 5pi/6 at? Like, how would I go about locating it? Any ideas? It's got to be what? It can't be all the way to pi. It has to be less than that, right? It's 1 less. It's this one right here. Boom, got it. Okay, great. Now I need to start doing finding the other 3 values. Okay. Now, here it's nice because I've given you squares, and if you needed to, you could always just take your fingers and start counting in until your fingers did what? Met. That is an option. You could just say, okay, I'm here. So I'm going to go 1 in, 2 in. I mean, you literally could just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, is it right here? Is that it? What is that location? Pi/3. Then I'd have to do these as well. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh, it looks like it's right here. This is what? I told you what each square was yesterday. What's this one here?
1 pi.
Pi/12. Yesterday I told you each square was pi/12 radians. And then the other one is going to be right here, which is what? 7 pi/12. So those are my values I need. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph this. It's a sine. Sine starts on the midline. So it's going to start right here. Then it's going to go to a maximum, then back to the midline, then down to a minimum, then back to the what? Midline. So my graph should look something like this. Now, this is a great problem to kind of just focus on finding these, okay? Because that's kind of, sometimes that's harder to do. Like this one's harder to do unless you just count and in, right? So, what if this exact same problem I had given you. Exact same problem. And I said, don't take out your Chromebook, nothing out. I'm going to give you a blank piece of white paper. Totally blank. Nothing on it at all. And all of a sudden, I want you to graph this thing right here. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go out of here. I'm going to go to our new page real fast. And do I have, it doesn't look like that's on here. Insert, can I paste from this? Or are you going to let me paste? Paste. Okay. So let's say all of a sudden I say, hey, sketch a graph of this. I haven't even given you graph paper all of a sudden. All right, I just need a good sketch of this. The approach is the exact same. The approach would be the exact same, okay? So I'd say, okay, what do I know? Well, we already know that the y equals -1 was that, and we said it was going to have a max at 1. We said it was going to have a min at -1. We said that the period of this was pi, and it was going to start at -pi/6, and we said then it was going to end at 5pi/6. We know that, okay? That doesn't change. Given the graph paper or not, that stuff doesn't change. But now I have to sketch it. Okay. Now, I should know for sure that this has to be left of the y-axis. Where I choose to put it at, does it really matter? No, it doesn't. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it right here, -pi/6. Now, I repeat, I am not going to put this at the other end anywhere yet. I'm not. I want to look at this another way of doing and getting these critical values. How many spaces are there here? When I have, this is the period. I take the period and I'm dividing it into how many little pieces that are equal. Right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Each one of these is the same length in radians. Right? Each piece of this is the same length in radians as this is. So what I can do is the following. If I take the period, I'm going to write it right here. If you take the period divided by 4, that gives you the spacing of your critical values. It gives you the spacing of them. So on this one, I know that my critical values are spaced pi/4 radians. That's how far apart they have to be. Okay, great. How does that help me? Well, what would I have to do? I have to be able to add fractions. Is basically what I have to be able to do. I need to get my next spot over here, I have to take -pi/6 and add pi/4 to that. That's what I literally would have to do. And in order to add those fractions, you have to have a common denominator. In this case, the lowest one is 12. This would become -2pi/12. This would become 3pi/12. Where does that put me at? Pi/12. Boom, there it is. Then what do? To that I have to add what? Pi/4 again, which is the same as what? 3pi/12. That puts me at what? 4pi/12, which is the same as what? Pi over what? 3. Is that where we were before on our other graph? Pi/3. There it is. Then I'd take this and add what? Pi/4. And then I'd have another spot. And then I'd add another pi/4. Each of these is pi/4 radians apart from the next one. Does that make sense how I'm doing that? What do you have to be able to do? Add fractions. That's all. In order to do that, you have to be able to add fractions. Rename with a common denominator and add them. And then when you sketch it, you just try to make these about the exact same distance apart. That's all you have to do for that sketch. Okay? Okay, great. Boom. Let's go on here. Here we go. This one. All right. This one, before I do anything with it, I want to change its form. This I do not like the way that is written in there. We don't want this to be like this. We want this 2 to be on the outside of parentheses here. So we have to factor this from the inside here. So I'm going to rewrite this. So it's going to be y equals 4 cosine of 2 times theta plus something. So look, 2 times theta is 2 theta. What goes here so that when I multiply it by 2, I get pi over 3? That's what I'm trying to find. Well, what do? It's nothing more than pi over 3 divided by 2. And dividing by 2 is the same as multiplying by 1/2. So what's going to go in here is pi over 6. What happens if I get this? 2 pi over 6 is the pi over 3. Now I know the actual phase shift. That is not the phase shift. This is the phase shift. So now I can get my graph. All right, where's my midline at? -1. So y equals -1 is the midline. Let's get our maxes and mins right away. What's my max going to be? 3, and my minimum? -5. Okay? So now let's go ahead and let's get our scale on this. We want to go by 2s again? Sure, let's go by 2s. Here we go. So I got 1, 2, 3, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. I should also label the midline, which is at -1. Let's sketch the midline. Y equals -1. All right. Now let's find that other information we need. Okay, here we go. Period. What's the period? Pi. We know it starts at -pi over 6. Oh, then it's going to end at. So that's the same as the last one, isn't it? Isn't that what I did in the last one? So I made these kind of the same so that you wouldn't have to redo all of that part again. But you had to remember to do this first, okay? So we're going to be at -pi over 6, we said, right here. We're going to be at pi over 12 here. We said we're going to be at pi over 3. Then we were going to be at, what was the next one? Pi. Wait, wasn't it at 7 pi over 12? So I got one right here, 7 pi over 12. And my last one was at this one right here, 5 pi over 6, okay? All right, it's a cosine, and it's a regular cosine. It's not inverted, in other words. So it's going to start on a what? Maximum. So here, I'm going to be at +3. At pi over 12, I'm going to be on the midline. At pi over 3, I'm going to be at the minimum, right down here. Oh, I think I'm down too far. Yep. Right here. Then I'm back up to the midline, and then I'm up to the maximum. So my graph, oh, I got a little funky at the end there. Like that. Looks like this. Questions on that one? You were just kind of struck, okay. All right. So you should have at least 2 pieces left. You should have 2 probably left on there, right? 2 blank spots. You may have used an extra one for some reason. Okay, here we go. Try it. Try this one, please. What's my max going to be?
2.5.
2.5, 2.5. Minimum,
Negative 0.5.
-1/2. Okay. Period. 4 pi. Start. What's that? -2 pi. And 2 pi. All right. So, I'm in a little bit of a bind here. Why is that? I don't have enough spaces in the left to do that. So I can only do what I can do. Okay? So, when I look at this, okay, do I even have 4 pi on this? I mean, I have 2 pi. 2 pi is, we should know where that one is, right? This is 2 pi. Okay? Can anybody tell me where my other critical values are going to be at? Where are my other, like, angles that I'm interested in where midline or max mins occur?
0.
0, yep. Pi, so this guy here, negative pi. Is negative pi on here? And no, it's not. So I can't do that. And then I don't have -2 pi either. Now, what does that mean? That means on my sine curve, I'm missing midline and then what? What am I missing? I'm missing, so at -2 pi, it'd be a midline, right? At negative pi, it would be a maximum. That means my next one's going to be where? On the, that means this guy right here is going to start on a midline. That's where I'm going to start my graph right now. I'm just going to do that, okay? Let's go ahead and get our y equals 1. Boom, we can do that. So y equals 1 is right here. So what do we want to make the scale on this? Do you want to make every square 1 so we can do halves easily? Do you want to do every square is 4, so every 2 squares is a half? All right, let's do that then. So 1, 2, 3, 4, here's 1. So then 1, 2, 3, 4, here's 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, here would be 3. Okay, good. And then of course this would be -1. So I'm okay with that. That's good with me. All right. So we need our axis of symmetries at y equals 1. Boom, got that. All right. So we know this is going to start where? What's this going to be? We said this was going to be on the midline, right? So we want midline, max, midline. So what's pi going to be? It's going to be a what? Minimum, right? It's going to be at the -0.5. Then what's 2 pi going to be? The midline again. Boop. So literally the only part of this graph I'm seeing is this part here. The other part would be this part, and it just disappears. But we would know it would go like this, and then it would come back down. Okay? So on the graph paper I gave you, this is difficult to do the whole thing because I haven't given you 4 pi radians worth of x-axis. So that's all I would be able to do on that particular graph right there. Okay? That'd be all I could do. But, yeah, go ahead.
So I did it differently. I just made the x-axis just a different length.
Okay, so what you did was, you said, you know what, I'm just going to not make these be what Mr. Snyder said they were, because I said it was set up that way. That doesn't mean you can't change the scale if you want. You could. What I'm thinking would be better in this is just to do what? Sketch by hand, and I don't even have to worry about it then. This is one where actually it'd be nicer to just sketch it by hand. So if I sketch this by hand, let's just go ahead and do that. Okay? So if I'm doing this by hand, I need to go from what? Negative 2 pi to positive, right? Boop. So here's going to be negative 2 pi. Here's going to be negative pi. Here's going to be 0. Here's going to be pi. And here's going to be 2 pi. I'll just draw my graph. I can do it like that. I don't need any of the other stuff in there. Now I just need to go ahead and do my axis, right? So I could go 1, 2, 3. And then down here would be negative 1. Negative 1. Here's 1, 2, 3. And then I just do it the same way. Where's the midline at? Positive 1. Okay? So what do we know? It's a sine curve. We said the sine curve, and we know the max is going to be what?
2.5.
Is it 3.5? 2.5. What's the max again? 2.5. Okay, that's good. So here we go. So where's this going to be at? Midline. Where's this going to be at? 2.5. That's right here. 2.5. There it is. Great. Then I'm back at the midline. Then I'm what? Negative 0.5. Then I'm what? Back at the midline. Hey, look, there's my graph. Woo, done. Okay. So here's what I'm going to tell you. If I'm giving you a problem and it doesn't fit on your graph and I want you to graph a cycle, you have two choices. You can A, make this scale something completely different. That would be up to you. Or you could just do what? Sketch it by hand. Which do you think I believe is easier? I think sketching it by hand, because that way you're not getting confused about those old marks that I had on there. Because the only marks you need are these 5 angles. That's all you need to do is put them there, label them, and make sure they're what? Spaced about the same. It's a sketch. It's a sketch. Okay, so are you ready to try something here? You ready? All right, you have one graph left on there? Okay, here's what you're going to do. I'm going to put a curve on the board without the function, and I want you to sketch it on that bottom one there, okay? You're going to sketch it on the bottom one there. So let me go ahead and find this. And let's go with, okay. Let me real quick. Oops. All right. Here it is. So I don't know if you guys can you guys see what this is at, this graph? Yes, no, maybe? Let me tweak these a little bit. Maybe you can. So do you guys see? Here's the graph, and I've kind of got part of it here. So do you really need all of this? Probably not. You can sketch this. You could look at this as either a sine or a cosine curve. That's up to you, okay? What I'd like everybody to do right now is if you just sketch this piece right here. I'm just going to have everybody sketch this piece right here, okay? So that blue piece is what I want you to sketch. And then on your sketch, you should label the values you need to know there. Does that make sense what I'm saying to you? So that means the y values as well as the what? X values, what they would be there. Okay, and I will zoom in a little bit so you can kind of see what these are a little bit better. They will show up if I zoom in. There we go. Let's do this. I'm going to be nice. Okay, that's the only part of the graph you have to worry about right there. That's it. On your graph you're looking at, that's what I want you to do. What I want to do now is I want to write a function that created this graph. Okay? I want to write it. Write a function that created this graph. Now, in order to do that, I have to know the A, the B, the H, and the K value. I have to find those 4 values. And the order I find them in does not matter. That is completely up to me. So I'm just going to write it here. So I've got an H value. Okay. I have a K value here. I have an A value. And I have a B value I need to find. If I find those, I can write this function. And I find all that information on the graph. Okay? Does everybody have kind of a sketch of this? Hopefully. So let's start with H. H is where it starts at. Is there even a phase shift on this? Is there a phase shift? From what I have drawn here, is there a phase shift? And the answer, Caitlin's going, no, there's not a phase shift. No. So that means this is what? This is a 0, or you don't have to even worry about it. There is no shift left or right. Okay? K. K stands for the midline. All right, now, in order to find the midline, I want to use the maximum and the minimum. So what is this maximum value here? 3. And the minimum value down here is -7. Okay. The midline is in the middle. To find the middle of 2 numbers, you average them. That's what an average is. It's the middle of 2 values if you have 2 numbers. So 3 plus -7 is -4 divided by 2 is -2. The midline is right here. There's the midline. So I know K is -2. So far, so good, I hope. A is the what? Amplitude. It's the distance from the midline to the max or the minimum. Or half the difference of the max and min. That's how you want to do it. Either way. So I have to know either what this is A, or this could be considered A. Either one of those is. It doesn't matter which one it is. And on this one, you could just count if you needed to. But what I have to make sure of, every square is not 1. Every square is worth 1/2, right? So how far is it from here to here? Well, from -2 to 3 is a distance of what? From -2 to 3 is a distance of 5. Last part of this is B. And B does what? Has an effect. It's the value that affects the period. So on the graph, I have to get the period. What is the period for this? Pi. And then yesterday I said, if you know the period, that the value of B was equal to what? How did I do this yesterday? I wrote it down for you guys. What's that? It's 2 pi over P. You just, okay, it's this. So if I want the period, it's 2 pi over B. If I want the B value, it's 2 pi over P. It's 2 pi's on the top. So now it's 2 pi over pi, which is 2. All right, great. I should be able to write my function. All I have to do is say, is this cosine or sine? It's a cosine. So it looks like this should be y equals a 5 cosine of what? 2x. Since there's no phase shift, I don't have to do anything else in here. Whoop, and then what? -2. Done. So all of the information for writing the function is in the graph embedded. The only thing you have to do really small calculations, like finding the midline is being able to find average of 2 numbers, right? Finding the amplitude or finding the B value. Okay? What do you think? Is that not bad? Now, the first one I did, of course, I didn't do a what? Phase shift on it. I didn't do a phase shift purposefully. All right, so, does anybody have any questions on how I just approached that particular problem? Yes?
So, if there's no phase shift, like you said, you can put the v with the x.
Correct. Well, yeah, exactly. Because what that really is bx plus 0. Okay? All right. Let me go ahead and I'm going to get rid of that information on there. And we're going to turn on the next graph. There we go. Hey. I already have these graphs ready. Let me drag this one down. Okay, so here's what I want you guys to do. Okay. So I'm just going to leave it right here. This time, you have a choice. If you want, I'll give you guys more graph paper. If you want to sketch it, you can. If you just want to do it on blank paper, you can. That's up to you. But again, we want to write a function for this particular graph. We just want to write a function for this particular graph. So when we come back, we'll keep working on this one. We've only got like about a minute.
I looked like
What's your what? Oh, I got a burner. Oh yeah, when you're working on something, it's literally. I'm saying. Dude, this game's so fun.
No, you didn't do anything. Come on. Just go. Thanks for adding a dumpster fire right there. Oh.
Okay, here we go. Woo, woo. at this function as a cosine curve. You could write it as a sine curve if you would choose to do so. So here I see this is a cosine cycle, and it's starting at negative pi over 6. Oh, that's my h value then, right? I know that. And it's ending where? At, where's this cycle ending at? Yeah, it's ending at 11 pi over 6. Those two allow me to find the what? Period. And the period is 12 pi over 6, which is what? 2 pi. And if the period is 2 pi, that makes b equal to what? Equals 1. Okay, so now I have my b value. Great. I have my h value. Great. Okay, so my max is at 6. My minimum is at 0. Oh, that's nice. That means my midline's where? 3. Here's my midline. So y equals 3. That means k equals plus 3. What am I missing? A. A is the amplitude. What's the amplitude? 3. A is 3. It looks like this graph should be what? Y equals 3. I chose cosine of, now, on this one, b is 1, so it's not bad. So I could just make it what? X. What goes next? Plus. Thank you very much. Because it's really what? Minus a negative pi over 6. And then on the outside, it would be plus 3. Okay? Let's see if I, well, no, I don't want to go ahead and do that because I have the next graph on there. So, yeah, there it is. And actually, once you understand how to graph, writing them almost is easier. If you can graph them, writing them almost becomes easier in some aspects, I believe. Okay? All right. Questions on that one? No questions on that one. All right, let's do the last one I have like this, and then you're going to be doing some practice problems, or we will be doing them to see how you handle this. So let me get rid of all that ink there. And let's turn on the last one. Oopsie. Hold on here. Okay. I'm going to make this one just a little bit. Oh, this is just ruthless almost. I love that. And that's not bad. Let's make it. Aha! Love it. All right, here comes your graph. You ready for this? Pow! Now, I did this on purpose to see how you handle it. Okay? Did it on purpose. There's a lot. There's an infinite number of ways of writing this function. Infinite number of ways. You have to find one of them. Unfortunately, there's an infinite number of ways of writing it wrong as well. There's an equal number of right and wrong answers for this function. See if I zoom in, if any more x values will show up for you. There, that's better. Be a little nicer to you. No. I'm trying to find stuff not to do. How's that sound? Uh-huh. So the easiest value to find on this are probably going to be what? A and K. Those usually are going to be your easiest ones to find. And just real quick so everybody can see it. This is at 3 and this is at -5, just so you know. That's where those are. So who can tell me what K is on this problem? -1, great. Yep. 3 plus -5 is -2. Divide by 2 is -1. Boom. Okay. Then the amplitude is 4. All right. So those two values. Now, just so you remember, the amplitude is 4. The A value, I could make it +4 or -4, and the amplitude is still 4. Okay? So, before we try to find out where this is going to start at, let's find the period of this thing. Let's find the period. So I have to decide where my cycle is. Now, if I want, I could go ahead and draw my midline at -1. So I could do this like this. And if I do that, what did I do? So here, if I look at it as a sine, it goes from here to here to here to here. Oh, I cut it off over there. I'm a jerk. Sorry. You guys have any ideas at all of how I'm going to find the period? I mean, there's a lot of ways of doing it. What do you think, Brady? The two, you mean this spot and this spot? Yeah. Yeah, guys, it's exactly what you could do. Max to max, that's a what? Period. Minimum to minimum could be a period. Oh, okay. So one option is to use that this is at -4π/3 and that this is at 4π/3. Okay? Which means the period is the what? Distance between those, which is how far? Just leave it as an improper fraction. What do you get? What's that? 8π/3. It's 4π/3 to here, and it's 4π/3 to here. So the period of this is 8π/3. Great. Okay? Now I can find B. B is 2π divided by 8π/3. Ah! Ew, Mr. Schneider! How in the world am I going to do that? Huh. How in the world am I going to do this? Let's see, maybe all I have to do is think of this as 2π times 3/8π. Isn't that how you divide by a fraction? Multiply by its reciprocal? Oh, okay. So what are the pi's going to do? Cancel. What do I get in the numerator? 6. 2 times 3 is 6 over 8, and that simplifies to? It does, or I can leave it as a fraction. If you put 0.75, that's the same as 3/4. That's okay. Okay. If it was a fraction that was like nasty, like 1/3, it was 0.3 repeating, I'd rather you would put 1/3 than 0.33. Okay. Great. So now I knew that's my value of B. B equals 3/4. Now all I have to do is what? Find its starting position. And that is based upon, am I going to write it as a sine or a cosine curve? Now, if I want to do it as a sine curve, let's say I said I want this as a sine curve. I would probably start it right here. And h would be what? Negative 2 pi over 3. This is if I'm going to do it as a sine curve. I'm going to write my function. Here we go. Y equals. And it's a regular sine curve, right? It's increasing. It's not decreasing. First, so it's a regular sine curve. So y equals 4 sine of, okay, here we go. Now I have to do both things on this. So on the outside of this piece in here is going to be the b value, 3/4. Then what goes in here is my phase shift, x plus 2 pi over 3. And then what? Then the -1 at the end. That's writing it as a sine curve. What if I want to write it as a cosine curve? Well, if I want to write it as a cosine curve, I can just have it start right here, right? I wouldn't even have to have a phase shift. I can just say, here it is. Even if I don't see it, I know, but I could call this the starting point of my graph. Okay, so that would be what? 4 cosine of, if there's no phase shift, that makes it nice. It's just what? 3/4 x minus 1. There's a possibility for this graph. That's 2 out of infinity. Let's do a third one out of infinity. Why not? I'm going to do another cosine curve. Here we go. Y equals -4 cosine of 3/4 of x plus 4 pi over 3 and -1. This is going to write it. This is another function. I just wrote it as an inverted what? Cosine. Instead of starting at a max, I'm starting at a minimum. If I go on Desmos and graph all 3 of these, they'll be the same graph. That's 3 out of infinity. Okay, now I probably already wrote, one of those is probably my answer. Negative. Oh no, I did it as a negative. I did it as an inverted sign the first time. Check that out. Here we go. Let's get rid of this one. Let's get rid of this one. So right here, I'm going to type in. Oh, here we go. So let's do this red one right here. Y equals 4 cosine of 3/4 x. Okay? And then I got to do the -1. Boop, right on top of the last one. Boom. Next one. Let's do this one here. Y equals 4 sine of 3/4 parentheses x plus 2 pi divided by 3 parentheses, oh, back out, thirds, kick out of there, -1, boop, same graph again. Oh, let's do the last one down here, why not? Y equals -4 cosine of 3/4 parentheses x plus 4 pi over 3, x plus 4 pi divided by 3, parentheses, -1. Oh my, craziness. Crazy. So when you're writing a function for a graph like this that's sine or cosine, you can write it either way you want. It doesn't matter. It's your choice. Unless you're told, write it as a sine function, write it as a cosine function. Now, usually one might be a little easier than the other. Okay? One might be a little easier than the other. Any questions on that one? No. You guys, no questions. Okay, here we go. Let me go ahead and get out of here real fast. Open this up. Get rid of this ink. Let me do this. I'm backing out and getting my original equations so I have them for next period as well. Whoa. There we go, great. Okay, so I'm going to turn that one off. Here we go. Do-do-do-do. Okay, so we're going to go this one. Okay. Let's go. I'm just trying to make this so it's just an inch harder. I don't make it crazy on you guys. That'd be rude, wouldn't it? Not really. Negative. Go to okay. So here you go. Write it. Last one. While you're doing this one, I'm going to go ahead and pass out your packet for you that you're going to be able to use for homework. So over the weekend, these are what you're going to be doing. You're going to be writing functions for these graphs, okay? And you'll notice that on the second page, I would love it if all the ladies in here would write that as a sine function, and all the gents would write it as a cosine function. That's why it says what it says at the bottom. So on the second page, again, ladies, I'd like you to write that as a sine function. Gentlemen, I'd like you to write that as a cosine function. So I'm not making it super difficult, but I'm just making it so I can see two different ways of writing it. So what's the minimum and what's the maximum? Max is 10, the minimum is -6. Okay, so what's my amplitude going to be, or what's my midline going to be? Let's do that first. What's the midline going to be here, guys? So you add them up, right? And you divide by 2, so that is 2. Okay, what is the amplitude then? It's either going to be a positive or negative in the future, but right now the A value would be what? 8. Now, so I'm going to draw my midline right now. So here's my midline. Now, so if you were up here looking at it, you would see that this midline is not crossing over at one of these nice spots. So writing it as a sign may not be real nice. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and try to go ahead and get this thing done. So it looks like when I'm over here that, where are we at here? Boom, boom. Here's a minimum, okay? And then over here, this is a, it looks like the maximum is right here maybe. I think it's that one. Okay, so I have to know what these are at. What is this at? Can anybody tell me what these little squares are going to be worth? Each one, I mean, this is pi over 2, and it's made out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections. What does each one of these equal? Looks like it equals pi over 10. Ew. Ew, pi over 10. That's gross. So what would this be at over here? What would this be at right here then?
18 pi over 10.
18, negative 18 pi over 10, right? Which is negative 9 pi over 5. That's what it looks like. And then this over here is where? 11 pi over 5. This guy is. Oops. Not. Okay. So are we okay with those two? Because this one, it was negative 20, right, over 10 minus 2. And then, well, I'm going to do that. And then this would be 20 plus 2, which would be what? Yeah, but what's 20 plus 2? 22? Divided by 2 is the 11. So it's 11 pi. Okay? 11 pi over 5? Wow, okay, great. Woo! So what's the period then on this thing?
1/2.
So the period of this, I want to find out what is basically the distance from here to here, which is what? 20 pi over 5. That's the period, which is the same as what? 4 pi. Oh, okay. So now I know the period. So if I know the period is 4 pi, then B is equal to what? Yeah, it'd be 2 pi over 4 pi, which is 1/2. So I have this, I have that, and I have the midline. So should I be able to write it? Yeah, because I know my phase. Now, if I'm going to do this as a phase shift, how would be the best way maybe to write this one? I could either write it as an inverted cosine starting here, or I could write it over here as a regular cosine starting there. That would be up to me. I can shift it and start here with the negative A value in the front, or I could shift it over here and start it with a positive A value in front. All right? Okay. That one's harder. Your paper's in front of you. Okay, so you're looking at these papers right here. Okay? So, boom. So when you're looking at this one, what does each of these verticals represent? What is each of these vertical lines going this way? How many radians? Pi over 4, right? When you first look at this, does it look like it's going above and below the x-axis? What's the max? What's the minimum? 9. Is it then? No, it's not, is it? Where's the midline on this first one? Where's the midline on this very first question of yours? -1. Oh, if it's on -1, I've got it really nice for you as far as where it's starting at. Gave you a nice one here. So you start with the midline, then get your amplitude, then find your period, then find where you're going to start your cycle at, and then write your function. All right. That's it. You guys are going to do those for the weekend. You can start them now, bring them back. We'll go over these on Monday and see how we're doing. Tuesday, we're going to have a quiz on graphing and functions like this and writing functions for them. So Monday, we want to tie up all loose ends on this graphing sine and cosine curves. We'll have our first quiz. Oops.
Two pi over 3? I don't think that it is. Let me see. So we're telling you this you did one. We did that together. So that's this as well. That's just that.
Oh, I had to treat it as just 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so then the pi's are canceled out. Okay.
Stacy and your CTC before this or after this? So you don't know if she's here, if she was here today at all? Okay.
I don't think she's supposed to be like the Friday.
What's that again?
Do you mean the Friday?
No, Stacy Pennington.
Oh, I don't think she's supposed to be here.
But she wasn't marked absent. That, I just wondered if maybe she left early and was sick or something, so that's fine. Yeah. What's the theory? Yeah, that's right. Yep, you're right.
How do we find the period for this? Because I don't know how to look at it.
So where's the middle?
I think you had it. That's not right though. Negative Yeah.
Totally.
Okay, now, so this is where you have to kind of like think outside the box, maybe.
I was trying to.
If
This one was.
I have to write whatever.
1.5
The two,
you can think of
Yeah,
that.
the two over.
Right, and I was thinking
That's
about
right, yeah.
midline, the same idea. Right, that's the,
And I have
does that make sense?
Yes.
So you can use that
So you
technique,
should.
see if you can figure it out. It's a challenge. Okay, I can tell you on the quiz, I wouldn't do that to you, but it's a challenge. But that's great thinking, yes.
This one like it doesn't go to
I have no clue, I have to look at it.
like 1.5.
Right, the Spanish quiz.
Complicated.
Right.
This is it. This is at 6.5.
Wait, Brady, do we have to write sentences like with the Assay formula?
It's not like sentences,
Right.
but like.
I'm sorry, 7, 3.5.
Yeah.
So your midline's here, so it looks like it's not going through anything nice to.
Aga El Favor.
But let's see if there's anything I can do.
And then like, you have to make sure you conjugate it. When it says like it, make sure you do Ase instead. Yeah. I think that was 16.
Looks like I probably should have used it more so that this was, so you can see what these were. Don't worry about that one. Okay, just all, yeah, don't worry about number 6.
Got it. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, you too. You should be able to do that. This one, no problem. This one, that's good. That one will be cool.
Look like you're working so hard.
Hello.
Hey, how's everything going?
Good. Good, good. We don't know much.
You doing okay?
Not looking real promising.
No.
A lot of worry about the heart.
So they can see a heartbeat, but
Yeah, but it's kind of just trying to keep up. So it was all new to me. Something about the A wave or something. Blood's like reversing
oh,
in the heart. I don't know.
is that kind of with me or something like that?
Yeah.
That's fine, but
So they're not really sure what that means.
yeah. Well, sorry about that.
Yeah. Yep. Thanks.
If you need anything, let us know. We're here.
Yeah, I know. Thanks.
Yep. Oh my goodness. Oh, Mitter's here.
Do you know of a proof that pi is irrational?
A proof that shows it's irrational?
Yeah. I actually don't think I do.
A proof that shows pi is irrational.
I can prove that radical 2 is irrational.
Wow.
That's a pretty common proof by contradiction.
Pi. I don't know if I've ever seen.
The kid asked that?
Yeah, who do you think asked me that?
Samuel.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew exactly who it would be. I wonder how.
I mean, I looked at a Wikipedia page. There's some proofs that are pretty complex that he's not going to understand. Where's Bridge? Where's the whole gang? I don't know.
I'll be right back.
This sandwich is lame.
It's not frozen at least. That's fucking good news.
Not a turkey.
So what is it? Peanut butter?
Peanut butter and honey.
That's a Kessler sandwich. I have to put so much honey on food to taste it.
I probably use like
I know, right?
somewhere between a teaspoon probably about a tablespoon.
Yeah.
I need some honey. I'm running low.
Where'd you get your last batch of? How much money? I don't think he's doing it anymore.
I get it from my neighbor.
Oh, that's true. No wonder what that spicy tastes like from there.
Terrible. I got two things of that right now.
Oh.
That stuff's not real versatile.
No, oh no. You can't do a whole lot with that.
I mean, you can. If you get used, I put it in like barbecue sauces and stuff.
And I tell you what I did with it. We had egg rolls and I threw in egg rolls. It's actually good because you always have like a sweet thing with that kind of sometimes, but a spicy sweet was really good with
That
it.
would be good.
Yeah, so that was one way I have figured out to use it, just dipping it in it.
I'm gonna remember that.
Talk about bourbon.
Oh, that would work too. No, the jalapeno honey from his neighbor down in so dipping egg rolls, and that is actually pretty tasty.
Ghost pepper.
Yeah, ghost peppers, that's right.
Shit's hotter.
Oh, it's hot.
Don't you put that on chicken or something?
Yeah,
How you
he
do it?
grilled that chicken.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we did once.
We were just saying it's not the most versatile. What are the, I was saying, well, what do they use it for egg rolls?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to put it on my peanut butter sandwich.
Yeah. Put it in your tea. Oh, put it in your tea?
I have one that was a full one, a ghost pepper one, that was a full strength, and then the other one was like a half bottle. That Lisa just dumped the honey into that half bottle, thinking it wasn't. I was like, well, you just turned this one into a.
That maybe made it a little bit more manageable though.
That actually may not be bad.
Yeah, I mean, but it's still hot. Like I still don't want to put it on my peanut butter sandwich.
Yeah. Well, was it just a regular jar of honey that exploded on your oven? Was that a ghost pepper?
That was regular.
Still can't believe they gave you a brand new oven.
No, they didn't give us any one.
Or oven top, right?
They just fixed whatever broke. Can't remember what it was they fixed.
Anytime a warranty works, I'm surprised.
Boy, that was a mess. This whole jar of honey, like this tall, glass jar. I was thinking that those ball jars that they put that in, I think I was thinking that was Pyrex. And so like honey will crystallize. So the way you uncrystallize it is just heating it up, but you should never put it in the microwave.
Right.
So I just put the jar on our gas stove. So it just like was heating it up slowly, and then and then I had a little knife that I was in there stirring it, and I was like stirring with that knife and hit the side, and the entire jar just shattered into a million pieces.
Oh no.
And like an entire quart of honey, like it made a lake on our stove.
Oh no.
Honey?
It wasn't crystallized anymore at that time.
I mean, it was
There's no way to
such
get that up.
a epic mess.
Wow.
And the stove was relatively new. We'd only had it like probably.
It's still under warranty.
Yeah, we probably had it less than a year.
I have a donut.
That's up to Gridge.
Yeah.
Yay. Thanks.
Save maybe a 1 or 2.
Oh my gosh, it
That's
doesn't matter.
crazy. That would not work.
And then the burner that was on quit working. So we called. We got it at Costco, and they sent somebody out, and he even said to Lisa when she was there, "Yeah, it looks like there's some grease down here or something." She was just like,
Sure, it's grease.
Stickiest grease.
Oh,
And half credit on the movies.
Yeah.
Did you? Like, if they said the vertex is -25 and circled it.
Yeah.
You give half credit or full.
I am gonna get that soda, I think,
That's it.
from my sister's friend for the lake.
Oh, okay.
So you can have the other one if you want.
All right, I'll ask them.
It's 15 years old. That's what my sister's friend's one. But it looks like it's still in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
The oven on that one is not great.
Yeah.
But it might just need a new. Like you can replace those like coil things pretty easily.
I think my dad mainly uses stoves.
What about if they wrote an ordered pair for the men? Did you book it?
Yeah.
Just like there, I just wrote like whatever it is.
Are you going on me?
Probably not. I'm running JV practice. By the time all the kids get picked up, I might not be able to leave here till about 6.
Is the meat in Xenia?
Not too boy.
Oh.
I love the Xenia meat.
Well,
Like,
Xenia
always
meat got
love
moved.
that. Is it?
It's like in Springfield now.
Oh, why? Are they doing something to track?
Where was it?
Xenia.
I don't think I've ever been to Xenia High School.
The high school. Seen them all. Seen them all.
I'm trying to think of if I've ever been there. I don't think I've ever been there. Unless I went there for football. When Dan and I were doing stats.
How much is this out of 16?
Yeah, but I made out 15 in power school. Did you?
Yeah, I was gonna
Did
say.
you make an answer key? Because I made one.
Yeah, well, I'm using John's.
Okay.
Kids just don't know what it means for graph to be negative, so it's
No,
kind of,
Did your kids do better on the back than the front?
oh yeah.
So did ours.
Oh, this person did. Tyler Rhodes
I
knew
know.
what negative was. Holy moly.
I feel like you just did it on accident.
That's crazy.
We'll take crazy if it's right.
We needed a lot of that on the air test.
Yeah, we do.
Oh my gosh. Andrew Bird got 13. Good job, Andrew Bird.
Yeah, he applies himself.
Get a half credit
He's
on
not
that.
another kid.
What are you learning?
No, he's not.
She's like, oh, awesome. I was like, Maddie loves unit circle. She's like,
He's still easing into the process.
Why
Yeah,
did you
so-
Mike?
Oh.
When is that coming out?
I don't know, you told me it's supposed to be out soon.
I thought you supposed
What's
to be out
coming
like
out?
Ozark.
Oh.
I got some.
I already entered those in.
What?
I thought April.
Are you entering those in?
I saw someone told me it was the end of March.
I was just grading Sierras and Mercedes.
I
They
just
turned
making
it
sure you went over there.
late.
Most of my fifth period class or last period 4 or 5 class. I think only one kid at the whole entire class had seen that.
had seen it? Well, that's their homework.
Pretty soon that's gonna get like Seinfeld. Like, oh, I remember that show. My dad used to watch that. How many years ago was that now? When that first
First
came out?
season, 08. When we graduated.
You
I remember graduating high
it
school.
for 4 years old.
When Ozark came out?
No, Breaking Bad season 1.
Breaking Bad?
I didn't know.
That's how long ago that started?
Yep.
Oh, 8?
But I didn't watch it for the first time until like 2015.
What? I didn't know it was that long ago.
I've never.
I mean, I didn't watch it when it was on live. I don't think I could have.
Actually, it may have been 07 because Angie and I watched it before she left for the Appalachian Trail.
I don't think I could have watched it.
She like watched.
Because I would have just gone crazy. So I couldn't have waited that long.
How many kids in this school maybe were born in 07?
Because she's selfish.
Yeah.
It would return this.
She's.
Oh, it doesn't.
Well, Rachel was born in 06.
She takes no initiative.
Yeah, 07.
It's gonna be split.
She was born in 06?
She was gonna
Yeah,
go last
in January.
and then didn't get off.
So most of the kids would be born in 06 or 05. The
And
freshmen.
then she has a ride today.
So season 4, they're pulling a Breaking Bad. Remember the last season of Breaking Bad, they split the 2 years.
No, I don't believe you.
Oh, because you didn't watch the
Because
last.
of the writers' strike.
No, that's season 1. Season 5 of Breaking Bad. It was 1 season. They split over 2 years. To me, it's 2 seasons.
Yeah.
They're gonna do that with Ozark. So you're gonna see half of it this year and in 2022.
Oh, that's
She
bullshit.
has her ride today, but she didn't.
They can
ask
spread it
for
out.
Well, that's just keeps you hooked.
Like, didn't
Oh,
see
yeah.
comments from my post. Like, oh, too bad the
He's a lesbian.
Does it tell us when it's coming out?
Sorry,
It says 2021.
that's your fault.
Oh, they said a day.
You would think. I just looked on it.
Like,
I'll check
I've seen it
another.
though.
Do you watch that show?
Watch it over the summer.
and she
So
knew
good.
She had a ride. She had a ride.
Not as good as Breaking Bad.
And she was like, oh, they don't
Breaking
know
Bad
what
disagrees.
it's
Most
the
of those shows are coming back.
The principal.
What's that?
Most of those shows are coming back like
Before, you're gonna go for
in a couple weeks or.
you have to
Soon.
ask.
It doesn't say
And
when.
she asked, and they basically said.
Well, Ozark is a Netflix only show. So like they
I
just,
know, but like a lot of those shows that
Like in a week? No, she didn't say
had
that.
been on like whatever.
She's like, well, I didn't
Going back.
know
Does it not
this
say on
was
Netflix?
And then I.
yeah, they're pretty hush hush about it.
I swear I saw it though.
Well, again now, this is 3 days before, they're in the same.
Let's see if I can find
Oh, great.
So goodbye.
There were
You're
some
immature and
episodes of Breaking Bad that I
I
just
don't
thought
care
were
for you.
just didn't do
You've
it.
done this to
They're
yourself.
too slow. Blah, blah,
Like
blah.
The Fly.
Yeah, Fly.
You gotta watch it again.
You gotta
Like
watch it again.
when you watch it again and you understand the whole show.
Imagine watching The Fly real time though. That pissed me off a whole week. You waited a week to get The Fly. It's never good the first time.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like, what the hell? Like I waited a whole week for this.
Yeah.
You wouldn't feel that way. with
That's
it.
kinda how
Like,
El
you know,
Camino
it's
was. I waited all
Years
week.
to
I waited years. You and I talked about that for 6 months. leading up to it.
I took the day off work.
Watch a show?
But The Fly, like, it was a necessary
What is
episode.
it?
Breaking Bad, the movie came out. I took the day off work because it came out on like a
It came out at midnight.
Thursday at midnight, so I took Friday off. I was gonna stay up till midnight and watch it. Well, then I found out it was like in a different time zone, so it actually came out at 3 a.m. Thursday night. So I was like, I'm not staying up till 3 a.m. So I took Friday off work for nothing.
Did you watch it Friday though?
Yeah,
I watched it that night. I think Friday was just.
Yeah. So like I went over to my dad's and we were sitting there, we were like hitting like refresh at midnight, I'm like checking it, like son of a bitch.
Oh my god.
Well, since it's not coming back in April, so. Yeah, I just saw that.
I just keep finding things that say.
Ozark's not coming in April?
Wow, this person knows how to round.
Damn.
Yeah, I wonder if they say that, but probably like May or June.
One of the kids thought near
Because a lot of their stuff, like a lot of Netflix like shows are coming back.
I can't find it. Eric, can you see it?
But I
Last
swear-
year when
Oh
they
yeah, I see not coming out in April.
Yeah.
when
I
they
saw
dropped the
that when
last
they
season,
originally
it was
said
like
that.
when we were during quarantine.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's when I watched that. Comic.
Because
everybody watched it.
during the
My
shutdown.
Facebook is like triggering because it's putting up like what happened last year at this time, and it's like the Southdale Parade. Like it's so, I cannot believe we haven't experienced staying in our homes that long.
It was a weird time.
Yeah, remember when
Because we were at the lake.
Me and Shane were like giddy the first day, like this is so cool. We're gonna be on spring break extra, and then like in the middle of
It's a
June,
grandpa
I texted you and was like, this shit isn't funny
It's a
anymore.
parabola.
Well, I told Lisa this morning.
I don't know. It went up and then it shot down more like.
Yeah.
With content,
Maybe
my
quicker,
class
Probably
I was
wasn't
able
too
to
much
get-
of a study.
more accomplished last year when I was
The
teaching
study
on my
was
back
fine.
porch
Wine went to wine.
than I am now.
Really?
What'd you say, man?
Like,
Because you had more time.
because I had more time. I basically was doing 50 minutes a day with them every day of the week.
Yeah.
Even though we weren't supposed to, I was doing it anyway with like my college class.
Fourth quarter of last year?
Like while we were at home, yeah.
And they were actually showing up right there.
Oh yeah, like when we would have the Zoom, like, well, we weren't doing Zoom meetings then, we were doing
Well,
Google
we've known
meetings.
them for 3/4
Yeah,
of the year
yeah.
before they left.
I think
So
that makes
That made all of
they
it.
felt like they owed us,
Yeah.
liked us.
So-
Well,
Relationship.
I remember telling Sherry that when we talked over this at the end of the school year, like about this coming year. I was like, Sherry, the only reason why this even remotely worked is the fact that we know our kids. It's like, this is not going to work if you just put us in front of the kids when you've never met them. It's not
I
going
think
to work.
like even like the older kids were like scared, like especially the ones who are graduating, like shit, what am I gonna do? Like if I don't know this, like how is that gonna translate into college? Like you know what I mean? Now they're like, yeah.
And my kids, like, so in my class, like, you know, I was teaching Calc 2, and those kids were getting right state credit. Like,
Yeah, I remember you having to argue though.
And I was like-
You should meet longer.
yeah, and I, you know, because we remember you were only allowed to do a half hour each day, supposedly. And I remember talking to Tyler and to Sherry and to Dan and saying, I can't do that. And so I basically just ran my class every day. We met at the regular class time and met for 50 minutes. And I would give them some stuff to do, but not necessarily every time. Probably not as much as we would if we were in person.
Yeah.
But as I think back to last year, I actually was able to do more content than I am right now. Because only seeing them 40 minutes and never seeing them on Wednesday.
That's rough.
Because Wednesday they just decide, I mean, it's their day off.
They do nothing.
They do absolutely.
Like, it is their day off. I just don't understand why we have Wednesday off. It's great.
Yeah, it's a
I need
teacher.
it though.
I mean,
I'd be in trouble without it.
Yeah, I would.
I mean, if I didn't have all my kids, I wouldn't need it, but taking everything and figuring out how to make it digital for the online kids and having
well,
videos.
at this point, having online kids is stupid.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have any online kids.
If kids were more responsible, I would love the Wednesday thing because there's definitely one day a week where I can just give them work to do, and I could actually focus on giving them feedback on their essays and like planning things. But they don't do it, so I'm just fine.
If we have online kids next year,
And there's gonna be a custodian.
I'm hoping that's in our contract. Maybe a plan for next year's contract.
When is the contract?
next Wednesday.
2 p.m.
Don't you think that would have been
Contract.
negotiated?
I think it's gonna be in one of those, what is it called, where it's like,
MOUs,
yeah.
What's that mean?
memorandum of understanding. It's like basically an amendment to the contract.
This is what's not fair about the online kids. All our kids just had to go take this test with nothing out, no help.
And the online
And
kids
the online kids could have watched our video while, I mean, they didn't probably.
called each other,
They had the vocab, like this.
asked,
Grandma could have taken it for them.
yeah,
And that's why if we give them the option, you are going to have 10 to 20% of the kids at this school are going to choose online
pandemic
because
or not.
I do better online,
Yeah.
which is complete bullshit. Yeah, you
You
do better because you don't have to do anything.
I was
No, but I
reading
know
Your
she'll-
parents
she-
are doing that.
I was
Alice
reading
Rick.
some article that was like,
She's here this year.
I think it's a school in Columbus that was saying like they
Nice,
have
I'm sure.
online kids,
Academy class.
but they're like,
Smart.
Right.
I don't know, their people like mandated that you had to have like
100% class.
you had to show up, obviously, and then like once you like started to like drift, like it was you had to come in, like you were no longer like.
Well, we won't do
I had that.
And but that's why, that's why we're. I mean,
Because we already let the,
yeah.
I mean, the ship has already sailed.
Like,
Yeah.
We're not
She
gonna
told me,
create an
I know.
online
I was like,
system that's all of a sudden,
Like,
now where we have to hold them accountable,
everything online.
like we haven't been doing that. And when we even
He's a low-
pretended like we were going to this
Understanding
year
of
when
what-
school started. Oh, it's not gonna be what it was last spring.
No, wait.
There's gonna be some expectations, blah, 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 and then we just kept softening. Oh, only a half hour, only this, and now it's like, all kids are online, everybody else is in school. You online kids, you have 2 weeks to do your work. I mean,
Dude, our online kids, I mean, for our resource room, like, we haven't even heard from them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Not at all. Like 4 kids that literally have not done a thing all year.
and they could walk in the store right now, and I would have no idea. I mean, I barely know who the kids that we are. Sam?
Dude, Sam comes like once a week.
That's Tristan.
That's why.
Sam, yeah, he's here today.
Yeah, Sam is here today.
Mike,
Not
He's
sure
pretty
we're
bright.
really well.
yesterday, like,
Sam's pretty bright. So's Tristan for that matter.
but they don't show up enough, and I'm like, no one, I mean, like, I just don't understand, like, how,
But I would wager that those two, like Sam and Tristan, I would wager that they are like that. They were like that before COVID ever happened.
right. But then, like, it's just crazy, because, like, what happened to people getting in trouble for, like, not showing up to school anymore?
Oh, that
You
stopped being a thing like when I started teaching.
But like, I just don't understand.
I mean, we
because
started to try to make it a thing.
right, but then it's like, oh, it drifted off, like, halfway through third quarter. Okay,
When I was
but
in
you want these kids to pass class.
When I was in school, if you missed 10 days of school, you failed.
Right. That was well, when
You
I
just failed.
when I taught Talawanda, that was it. It was an
I like-
automatic F.
Yeah, like, people laugh, because I mean, in, like, elementary through high school, like, I never missed a day. And I'm like, 'cause I was scared.
Anna.
Like, I was scared that I
How are you?
would miss out on so much,
Why are you so tired?
you know? And you would, like, you missed a day, it was like, holy heck, how do I get
Say it again.
Now it's like, no big deal.
It should be that way.
Why do you think
They do it, they just don't care.
Like, it should be like, it's like Chris and I have this conversation all the time. It's like, it shouldn't be that if a kid misses your class, you just give them something and then, they're fine.
Better.
Like, they do this work because they missed your class, then that means you were not valuable.
Yeah.
Like, they need to be there.
I'm going on vacation. Can I have all the work I'm gonna miss?
Yeah.
If the answer to that is yes, here you
I'll
go,
be real
then that means I don't need to,
Then you don't
you
need
should
to.
just fire me.
Yeah, then I'm not
Because my in-person instruction.
Yeah.
That's okay. Because my mom got her record player yesterday,
Yeah.
so now she can use our vinyl CDs that we have.
Cool. Very cool. What is this nonsense? This is a forgery. It is forgery. Audrey Lundgren has a sewing tournament.
It's sewing.
Wow.
Oh, soccer. Oh, okay.
Should've stuck with
Soccer, sewing. Yeah. Not the same thing, right? No, maybe not.
Until mine.
Maybe not.
I'm so excited.
Whoa.
To go to prom. It's fantastic. Because of my soccer tournament, I can't go to prom.
Oh.
So, that
Did
was-
you, did John
You
do
said-
you guys do number one and something?
I wasn't sure if I was still or not, but I don't.
You showed me how
I
to
no longer have a
uniform. But then we're not gonna call them, we're gonna help you with the window. And
I just think, yeah, they, for some reason, can't do that. It's like, you have 2 weeks to figure that out. Right, that's my stuff.
you're gonna get that on.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get that something.
No,
I mean, you might write down your answer that you got from Desmond,
yeah,
but you're gonna be able to use Desmond.
nothing back here.
You're gonna be able to evaluate the functions of Desmond. You're gonna be able to, I mean, all that kind of stuff. And they did not. Listen. They did not.
Oh, they're so expensive. I had to fix my book.
Bitch, what? Are you being serious? Why? I'm gonna go call him. Who do you think you are?
No, it's not like that.
You just called me down or something?
No, it's not really loud.
her boyfriend's prom ticket.
Huh?
She paid for her boyfriend's prom ticket. It's Tyler. Like, you pay like an arm and a leg for it. Kill him.
Wait, your daddy Tyler's taking up for you.
Yeah.
She was dating that one girl on the softball team.
Huh? No, not no
The
more.
like really short one.
Oh, Mia? Yeah.
What class is it?
I'll just do 3 times.
Hey.
You want to stay?
No, I'm going to buy it.
Oh, damn, I gotta go to chicken with you. I'll go back to the second round.
Go for it.
Alright, love you. Mine, Dad.
What?
She does that every day.
Nope, I do. Well, I bought his ticket because he's not here today.
Maybe he'll pay for your after prom ticket.
I don't know if we're doing it.
I'm going because they got belts. They got inflatables. And games, and you can win prizes like money prizes.
I wanted to see, like, I wanted it, but, like, I don't think she wants to do it. Unless there's people there. Yeah, he's very interesting.
Oh, I know. I've dealt with him since like first grade.
You? Yay, I'm not scared enough for it to make any difference.
Spike the punch.
No. I'm looking a gunshot at milk carton.
Just shoot it.
Like you would like with a can of like something. Like when you cut it on the bottom and you open the tab and you drink it out the side. Isn't that called a gunshot?
Oh my god. So you mean like a handgun, shoot it, and then like
No.
down it? Oh. Are you talking about like when they poke a beer and then they start like drinking? That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So you shoot the gun like into the can and then you shot it.
You're joking, right?
No.
Do you think people do that?
I mean, good.
You could. Okay, I thought you meant that's what they do, and I was like, Adam. Why didn't you take these people apart? No.
I thought
We're
that's
underestimating the American stupidity. Someone's done that.
I was just
I
like,
will do that.
It would be.
I know I will do that.
Come back. What'd you do? Shot a can. I had a gunshot at a
They
can.
all have like a bullet hole through it.
I brought 40 because I thought it would make my after prom. They're like, I'm not selling until Monday. Okay.
They're only 15 for after prom.
Yeah, it's not that bad. I mean, 30, but 35 for the whole shebang. I don't think that's hateful. I'm just glad with 40. Prom tickets were like
I paid 40.
for prom. I mean, homecoming. It
That's nice.
Oh, homecoming?
was like $15.
I don't know. They're all expensive. I'm stingy on my money unless I waste it on stupid stuff.
My dad cashed out my money so I figured to take it out of the bank. And then the bank ate my $20 in tips last night and they didn't.
Oh,
I was late today because I had to run to my bank and get cash out of them. But nobody knows that, so I'm not gonna tell you.
I have a Dairy Queen gift card. I don't know where it went. But I really want ice cream.
yeah. I think you have a lot of good things for you.
You should have saw me at work last night, Abby.
Why?
Because I was like falling asleep on the counter.
Dude, I stayed until 2:30 reading about scuba diving.
Yo. For just because?
For environmental science.
Oh, okay. I was hoping there was a reason why. Because I can't say anything. I watch Facebook videos until like 2 a.m. and it's the sisters, my 1,000-pound sisters, Tammy and Amy.
They're so sassy.
Yeah.
I got Honey Boo Boo on camera.
Honey Blue's mom was a bunch of weight.
Yeah, and she became into a stealing drugs out of her. Or something happened because she's on the run.
She's on the run because she's put ketchup and noodles together for her daughter. I did it, but I don't think I did it right, so.
I should just do it right now. Ooh, she's stealing.
Ooh, see if you notice.
Did you move it?
No, I just closed the lid.
See, I only have the first 3 done. I have 3 done?
Let's go.
It's terrible. I don't know.
A, equals 4. B equals.
Well, it's not
2.
in the right. It's only the right thing.
Okay.
So you have to like. So you have to like.
Redistribute. So that's still 2. That's how it was in the one problem.
I don't know how to redistribute them.
It would just be 2.
That's why I thought. I feel like I'm underthinking.
Well, that's what it's gonna be for today.
Oh my god, these are new pants. I'm not too on them.
My work pants have 4 holes. One's right here, and the other 2 are behind my butt. And I was bending down to get rolls yesterday, and Hannah came and slapped my butt, and the hole got bigger. I was kind of pissed off, but it was so funny because all I hear is squeak. I was like, Hannah.
Why did you wear a swimsuit after that?
Oh, did I
Why did you
shoot?
get holes in your pants?
Because I've worn them for like a year.
Oh.
They're like stretched, like worn out holes. They're not like full holes.
I meant like you ripped it out. I've never seen it under your butt.
Did I show you the swimsuit I ordered?
No, I need to get a swimsuit.
I'm so excited. So excited. Look.
You told me to look at it. Oh my god, it's so pretty.
I know. I've never worn green before, so I'm definitely gonna be like.
First.
I kind of want to cash out someone like 50 cents just to be
Hey guys. I don't even know. I don't even have cash up. I don't know.
Dude, it would make your life 2 times easier. Bet you money. Bet you $5.
I have cash up right now.
I know what you mean.
It's like
I know.
Dang, your shirt's not.
Chloe, what you reading?
yeah.
Dang. What'd you say?
Said your shirt's not tucked in. It's weird.
It's casual Friday.
Well, I know, but
This is not meant to be tucked in. No, it's cut.
Okay.
Can tell. Straight across. All right. Hey, you guys have some graphs you were supposed to do. While you're finding those and getting them out, I'll talk to you about what's going to be going on today, Monday, and Tuesday. So today, we're going to go over the ones that you just graphed, those 3 that you're supposed to finish up. We'll see how you did on those. Then I've got a 4th one we'll do. And then after that, we're going to switch gears and start trying to write functions from a given graph. We'll go the opposite direction. You'll have some to do over the weekend like that for homework. Monday, we will do kind of a mixture of those types of problems, both graphing and writing functions for a graph. Tuesday, the first period on Tuesday, we are going to have a quiz on that part of it. And it's not going to be a 2-period long quiz. It's going to be a 1-period long quiz on Tuesday. So Monday will be the day to make sure we wrap up, take care of any issues that we're facing, where is our struggles at, trying to address those, make them better. And like I said, Tuesday we will have the quiz. Okay? So that's the plan for today, tomorrow, and part of Tuesday. And then after that on Tuesday, we'll go ahead and deal with where we're going to head next. So let me go ahead and guys, be very quiet too, because if we're quiet, Savannah will not fall asleep. Right, Savannah?